I want to ask you guys a serious question. Do you like the direction that the NBA is headed? I feel like today's NBA is all about player empowerment. Players will end up wherever they want to go, regardless of anything. Back in the day, I don't really think that was the case. While it may have been and there have been isolated incidents, I feel like players in today's game have much more power than ever. In 2022, building a winner is simply not enough. If anything, there's a chance that that's only half of the battle. What's the other half? Well, the majority would be keeping your star player happy. You can have the roster, you can have all of the pieces, but if your star player has none of the happiness, then you're in trouble. While regardless of everything, you should want to keep your star player happy, there are dangerous precedents being set. But hey, I guess at the end of the day, teams really don't have to do anything that they don't want to. On top of that, I think it's awesome that we don't have to wait 8 years anymore to see that something isn't going to work out. I can't tell you guys how many basketball years have been flushed down the drain by incompetent organizations. The Brooklyn Nets and Philadelphia 76ers are far from incompetent. Everything going on has me wondering what's next for the NBA and what's next for James Harden and Ben Simmons. This video, we have a ton to discuss, but before we go any further, let's get a word from our sponsor. I want to give a major shout out to Fetch Rewards for sponsoring today's video. For those of you wondering what Fetch Rewards is, well, check it out. Fetch Rewards is a super easy to use app where you earn rewards on basically anything that you buy. Guys, I'm not making this up. All you have to do is scan any receipt or e-receipt and you earn points. It's so simple. You can redeem those points for hundreds of rewards, including Amazon, Visa gift cards, your favorite stores, literally anything, bro. Fetch is completely free. Now, I know some of you guys are still wondering, Coop, why should I click that link down in the description below and download Fetch? Well, just hear me out. Fetch is fast. You can do everything to get your points and spend those points in just a matter of minutes. You know what? I should just show you guys how easy using Fetch Rewards actually is. Look at this, guys. Just take a few pictures, click submit, and you gotta be kidding me. The boss thing about Fetch is that you can even use e-receipts. Just click the e-receipts button and it'll check your recent purchases. Fetch is not picky about receipts. There are so many rewards to choose from, and you can earn points from pretty much anywhere. Check out the link in the description below and use code GETLIKECOOP for a free 3,000 points whenever you scan your first receipt. Yeah, don't mind me guys, just browsing rewards, about to use my free 3,000 points. Again, just download the app, use code GETLIKECOOP. It could all be so simple. Fetch came in the clutch with the code for my channel, so be sure to take advantage of it before it's too late. A major shout out to Fetch for sponsoring this video. Is anybody else still trying to process this James Harden and Ben Simmons trade? Don't get it wrong, the trade made sense for both sides, but at the end of the day, James Harden still got traded for Ben Simmons in 2022. If you showed me the landscape of today's NBA in 2019, I'd probably tell you to stop playing my GM mode on 2K. It really does feel like the Brooklyn Nets have a roster that's out of a video game. But of course, it also felt that way before the Ben Simmons trade. Imagine if Ben Simmons were to develop a jump shot in Brooklyn. While Ben with a jump shot sounds crazy, it seems like Steve Nash isn't all too concerned about his shooting. After the trade went down, Nash would say that Ben Simmons is already an all-star. Regardless of if he improves his shot, he's excited about the things that Ben can do already. In return, I think it's safe to say that Ben is also excited. He's excited about the prospects of joining the Brooklyn Nets. Ben was reportedly emotional when he was on the phone with Kevin Durant and the Nets after the trade went down, thanking them for believing in him. While the Brooklyn Nets have been embracing Ben Simmons, they've also been shading James Harden. Before we get into any of that, I want to talk about Ben. The guy legitimately looks happy. I mean, check him out. He's already sporting Brooklyn Nets gear. His fiance posted a video of him getting a gas Brooklyn Nets welcome pack. While this may seem like a small gesture, things like this do go a very long way. It never hurts to show people that they're wanted or appreciated. Hey, call me cliche, but I always say it's the thought that counts. While the Nets love the addition of Ben Simmons, it's also clear that they loved the departure of James Harden. After the trade went down, Blake Griffin said, quote, "I can't speak for Philly, but I definitely think we got guys that want to be here and guys that want to play. I think we got better." Days later, Bruce Brown would follow that up with, "The locker room is just a great vibe. I don't know what it is." Everything just shifted after the trade deadline. Everybody likes everybody. It's just great. I've said this a lot on my channel, but team chemistry and everybody being bought in goes a very long way. And I'm sure that sounds incredibly ironic given the whole Kyrie Irving situation, but I'm sure you guys understand what I'm going for. While the Brooklyn Nets did everything they could to try to keep things under wraps, I guess the unhappiness of James Harden just proved to be too much. It's funny because I'm sitting here talking about unhappiness, and here James Harden is, the happiest that I've seen him in a very long time. While I don't like the way that Harden departed, these practice photos of him smiling are really good to see. Last video, I feel like I was a little hard on James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers. The reality of the situation is that now the Philadelphia 76ers are now bona fide contenders, and you could even say that they had a strong case for contention without James. The Philadelphia 76ers have a 30-14 record with Joel Embiid playing this season. That's a .682 win percentage. For reference, the highest win percentage in the East right now is .649. The point that I'm trying to make right now is that when Embiid plays, the 76ers are special. Yeah, unless they're playing the Boston Celtics. Shout out to Harden for helping Embiid work on that step back though. I'm sure it'll get there.
Taking a pop, Embiid. That is not allowed.
But on a serious note, Embiid is great for the game of basketball. Embiid is having one of those seasons, and yeah, he's one of those players. Embiid has never played with a guard as polarizing as James Harden. Imagine how fast this team is going to get opposing teams into the bonus. You know what? I don't even want to think about it. Man, what happened to the way that the NBA was being reffed to start this season? While I'm joking, Harden and Embiid have the potential to be really fun. Harden has never played with a big as polarizing as Joel Embiid. It's worth noting that Harden did play with Dwight earlier in his career, but it was clear that there was some role conflict at that time, and Dwight was clearly not the best version of himself. Now, unfortunately for the Philadelphia 76ers, James Harden is currently battling some hamstring issues. The Sixers say James Harden is out through the All-Star break as he continues to rehabilitate his left hamstring, meaning that Jared Allen would be replacing James Harden in the All-Star game. The irony here is beautiful, but I won't get into it. Instead, I'll ask you guys this question. Do you guys think that Jared Allen deserved to be an All-Star? And if not him, then who? Now let this sink in for a second. James Harden was playing through a hamstring injury. At one point, there were a lot of people that questioned the severity of James Harden's hamstring injury. According to Jake L. Fisher, Harden's antics and injury raised eyebrows across the organization, Durant included. Now, of course, Harden would get an MRI, and that MRI would show inflammation in his hamstring. According to Bleacher Report, the situation would remind several Nets staffers of April. Quote, urging Harden to play through injury could have been costly, despite serious doubts of Harden's intentions. While I understand Nets fans being frustrated with Harden and some of his performances, I think the fact that he was playing through a hamstring injury can't be overlooked. In Brooklyn, Harden was averaging 37 minutes per game, the most for him since the 2015-2016 season, where he averaged 29 points per game in Houston. To be short, he was asked to do a lot. While hamstring injuries can be tough, I think it's a good sign that James Harden has been able to practice. To quote Doc Rivers, February 14th, James Harden did everything at practice. While the 76ers didn't scrimmage, Rivers said that Harden was unlimited and also blown away by a couple of Tyrese Maxey dunks. Guys, do not sleep on how good Tyrese Maxey is. If you do, he will surprise you. Now, remember when I told you guys earlier this video that the Brooklyn Nets were throwing some shade at James Harden? Well, I guess you could say that James Harden decided to throw some back.
Didn't want to play in Houston anymore. You were able to leave. You didn't want to play in Brooklyn anymore. You were able to leave. What does that say about you, and what does it say about the power that NBA players wield in this era of basketball?
For me, I think just the relationship that I had in Houston, it was basically mutual, but everything was on me. And same in the last situation. But for the most part, we can control our own destiny. Not that I'm saying it's a good thing or bad thing, but I know in my situation, for whatever reason, it was mutual, and relationship. Not very, new with Josh, but obviously knowing Daryl, knowing Tad, from my Houston days, knowing Doc. For me, it made sense, man. It's a time where I needed to be, around guys that I know that want to win and know that are willing to do whatever it takes to win. And the structure here is unbelievable.
76ers fans, I have a question. Are you even slightly worried about the addition of James Harden? Remember how Shams reported that Harden planned to opt in to his nearly $50 million contract next season? Well, he didn't. He tried, but he didn't get the paperwork done in time to opt in. To quote Shams, the paperwork was filed, but they did not meet the buzzer for the opt-in. He still has the option to opt in the summer. There was a period of time where he could have opted in conjunction with the trade. They ended up not filing the paperwork in time, so a little bit of a procedural situation with the paperwork. While this is likely nothing, if I'm a 76ers fan, I would have definitely liked to see Harden opt in. While it almost feels like contracts in the NBA are optional, I feel like a little extra commitment never hurt, especially when you gave up so much to get a guy. Here's to hoping that James Harden returns locked in, and that he returns to playing basketball at a very high level. Here's to hoping the same for Simmons. According to Nash, Simmons will be ready to play mentally when he's physically ready. Nash thinks Simmons is in a good place, and after everything that Simmons has been through, that's really what you love to hear. Let me know what you guys think of everything going on down in the comments below. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm GetLikeCoop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.